up, YouTube? Just waiting for my Instagram to go live. All right, we're back at it. If you notice, for some reason, because I just made the accounts today, kind of shame on me for forgetting this. They don't actually let you go live on them for a while. I don't know why they do this. Maybe just like to prevent spam or something. I'm not totally sure. Anyone who knows the reason, definitely put that in the chat. I just would love for someone to come up with a good name. We already got I said something about like Raw Dog Special, like Shane D does it Raw Dog or something. We've heard like Shane Diesel Nightcap. Would love to hear what else there are, for a potential name. So anyone who can think of like what a good name for this special would be, totally would be sweet. So I don't have to think about it too much. Yeah. All right. So I'll go through this kind of list backwards for now because something I just will wait till the end. Definitely want to keep this shorter, nothing too crazy. But yeah, so I already mentioned the names for the show. The other thing is like I'm thinking of making like more of a podcast, like a once a week thing, whether it's on Shane D Comedy or my main page. Kind of uncertain about that yet. Maybe do kind of something similar like this, where there's like the PG-13 version of the interview, and then there's like a more raw version of it where like allowed to go a little bit deeper. Definitely have ideas for guests like Timmy D. Would love to have other people that are kind of influencers involved, just kind of ask questions about that. I may even just have some interviews throughout the week that I kind of collect. Have always been interested in like interviewing different kind of religious people and just understanding like their thoughts and how they kind of believe in God and like kind of compare the similarities there. It's just something I'm interested in. I actually got in some like, not hot water, but it was an interesting conversation at my Bible study this week when I was just like, I don't know if I agree Jesus is my Lord and Savior yet. And the lady next to me is just like, I believe that you're going to hell if you don't accept Jesus as your Lord. And she was so nice about it, but I was just like, oh, thanks. Like basically saying I'm going to hell. But I was cool with it because I'm like, whatever. And my argument is just like, okay, like, do Hindu people like not go to heaven? Like, do all these people who don't accept Jesus not go to heaven? I'm like, that's like a weird way of thinking, right? Like, I don't think that's the truth, right? Like, I think even if it is totally like Christianity is the one faith, like, I just don't think that like they would punish someone because like everyone in their country believed in one thing. It's like, if they're really good people and they do like mostly good, how could they not make it? I think if you're gonna like throw someone on the bus because of Jesus, there's all these people that believe in Jesus that really do shitty things. I'm not going to go too crazy in a religion. I don't want to be a religious, nut or anything like that. But it was pretty funny because like this other lady even, oh, thank you, Max. Yeah, the Bible mentions something about not being punished for not knowing. I kind of agree with that, right? And like, but I think that's also a weird like way of putting it. That's like, well, once you hear about it, you got to join or you're going to hell. It's like, come on, like not really as fair. I was actually the girl that I was talking to, absolutely gorgeous girl. Hopefully she follows me on Instagram, can hear me kind of talking her up. But she was basically saying like once you know about him, you should. So kind of a similar approach there is like, yeah, you should probably follow God and Jesus once you know. I'm like still flirting with the idea. I'm just not fully there. Personally, what threw me off big time was like when my cousin died. Like I'm there for her funeral and they kept being like, oh, Jesus is so great. Jesus. I'm like, dude, can't we just like talk about my cousin? Like it was weird. It was like too much for me. But different churches have different effects. I'm loving church right now. So I at first went because it was non-denom. It's actually like a Christian-based faith, but they do claim non-denomination. The thing that was awkward was like one of the ladies, not the lady who basically told me I'm going to hell, but one next to her said like, oh, I believe that you have to worship on the Shabbat, like the Sabbath, Saturday, through like sundown Sunday, and like that's 24 hours. And she's basically like, if you don't do that, like you're going to hell. And like she was like, well, if you interpret that way, why not just murder people? And I'm like, come on, like really? Like when you do your day of rest, you're gonna just murder people? It also kind of, I felt like I was slightly attacked because what actually ended up happening was like I can't even possibly really take the weekends off with real estate. It wouldn't make sense for me. So I'm like, oh, like it was nice that the priest was basically saying like, oh, you could take any day off for rest. And it's just important that you don't do crazy work. So you can kind of like enjoy it. Anyways, it's funny. This is the after hours raunchy getting into religion, but I mean, it makes sense because I don't really want to like offend people on Facebook. This is where we can get into kind of more thoughts like this. It was just funny when the lady passive aggressively, after I'm just like, I don't know if I've accepted Jesus as my savior. She's just like, yeah, people go to hell if they don't accept Jesus. And never once looked at me, never was like combative. I just kind of rubbed it off. Got a little bit embarrassed and was like, yeah, whatever. I kept going. And then I also, my other point that I'll leave with, and I'm not trying to pull anyone across from their religion, their beliefs, but I'm like, the Bible was written by man and it's been translated like how many times? And the one that we read is the King James Bible, where I'm pretty sure whether it was like King Henry or King James, whoever was the king that rewrote it, he wrote it for his own benefit. So it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just don't think reading the Bible word for word is exactly how you guarantee going to heaven. I think it's a great thing. Like, I think there's a lot of teachings in it. It also reminds me a lot of Shakespeare, where I'm like, there's a lot of room for interpretation. So they kind of agreed with me on that there is like interpretation the more you read it. I mean, that's why there's so many like theologians and stuff like that. I have a long way to go. They're pretty accepting. They're not like kicking me out of the group or anything like that. But there was some fun there. So I went off that tangent a little bit too long. Where I'm going to go back to, yeah, podcasts. Would love to have other people. Anyone who wants to be on like an interview or podcast. We don't have to be in person. I could find a way to like Zoom you in, potentially like a green screen, or somehow just like put you up in a window with your background. More than happy to do it. I would love to have guests and like have a more open dialogue. For people, might not even do it live when I do a podcast. I know certainly with Timmy D, he'd be more confident. That's my dad, Timmy D. More confident and comfortable without it being that way. So as I kind of mentioned a little bit, and I just want to reiterate, I promise, like, I'm not here to like spill anyone's secrets, to embarrass anyone, make anyone feel bad. That's not my intention. Kind of slipped up and said some things that got back to the person. I'm like, I'm not that kind of person to talk behind backs, and that wasn't the intent. By any means. Like, I thought it was a funny story. Didn't really think the person would take it that way. Unfortunately, me and a lot of my friends, probably toxically, or whatever you want to call it, we just like, we loved stories like that are just funny, kind of not shaming, but it's like, it's like, that's how you make them not do it again, is you kind of like, okay, if you're going to do those things, we're going to talk about it. But anyways, yeah, so not going to bring it up again. Really appreciate, the friendship. The dude's really kind and like supportive. So don't want to burn that bridge. And I don't think I should burn anyone's bridge. So just know that you can come to me with full confidence. If we hang out at any time, I'm not going to like, give up your secrets. If I do find that something's funny, I'm going to, basically ask permission to say that story, because that's someone, could be embarrassed by it. What I can't promise is if I write something like years later and there's no way of them knowing it's you, I might take the story. But like, definitely don't want to like the next week, the next day, the next month, even like divulge something. So shame on me, but that's kind of, when you have a writer's friend, that's kind of how it is. This one, it kind of goes against that, which I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say it, but like the only person that would hear it would be that person that said it, and like kind of screw them anyways. But so, not screw them, but it's like they were kind of a little backhanded. So I don't know. I don't feel as bad about it. Basically, like, there was this girl that like we were both talking to, and I don't know, in the past when I've had guys, it's like you both can flirt with the same girl, and it's just like, if she's not interested in either, then no one's getting any action. If she's interested in both, she's gonna end up choosing one or the other. And like, you could kind of back down, but like, I wasn't, if she chose him, I'd be fine with it. It was like really just like a fun person to flirt with. Didn't see any harm in it. Right off the bat, the person that I'm talking about, he was just like, oh, I didn't like the way she got between you and me, but I'd never let our friendship hurt. I'm like, dude, like, I don't ever let that impact a friendship. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, girls are girls. They'll break your heart. They'll try to get between guys. It's just, at the end of the day, it's like, either you want to pursue it or you don't. And then ultimately it's like, it has to be reciprocated. That's the whole point of consent, right? It's like, I can't, even if he wanted her all in the world and I step back, if she doesn't end up wanting him, it's like, that's just a waste of an opportunity for me. So I don't know. That's me justifying it. But the funny thing is, when he did find out that like I went out on a date with her, it's not even a date, because she's still saying like it's not really like meant to be, which I'm fine with. Like, I kind of feel the same way, but it's a fun flirt. But he's just like, oh man, I didn't want her anyways, like good luck with that. And then like, I'm like, oh, that's nice of him to at least say that. Kind of weird, but whatever. And then he goes on to like trash her. It doesn't even say her name right, which is hilarious. And I'm like, dude, you don't even know her name. Like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to get her? But I just thought that was funny. And then he like literally sent me pictures of his ex-girlfriends and stuff. And I'm like, I just killed him with kindness. I'm like, wow, like that girl's gorgeous, man. Like, you're so right, whatever. I was like, she is like, the girl's pretty. I'm not attracted necessarily to his ex-girlfriend, a little older than I would like. But I just thought that was funny that's kind of shame on me for just literally saying I'm not going to do that and then doing it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's not the end of the world. Coming up on 10 minutes again. That's more than I want. I hope you all had a little bit of fun. Appreciate the engagement, Max. Appreciate all the support from everyone. Again, these in the future will be on Shane D Comedy, but I wasn't able to post it there today. I just really hope that everyone has a great day. Keep supporting each other. Ultimately, some sad stuff going on in the world, but I think if we lift each other up, ultimately we'll get through it. And yeah, I'd love to see some positive change, and everyone just keep feeding in like what are ways this could be better. Something I said maybe that lit you up or really like hit home for you guys. I don't know. Maybe I feel like lately I'm just like a shit talker, so need to like double check that. But thanks for coming to the after hours. Definitely would love some posts or comments on like what this should be named. What do you think? I had like a cousin on Facebook saying it was like The View or The Word. The View is funny because that's like another name of a show. I'll have to look up what she said. Stay tuned for what they kind of claim the name should be. But yeah, 10:20. It's late enough. Hope you all have a good one. Peace out.